Okay, just before we get started on today's examples, I just want you to pause the video and use this here to mark your work from yesterday. So just whichever ones you got done from exercise 10A yesterday, if you pause, use these answers and get them marked for me, please. Okay. Now, similar style questions today, but we're taking it up a notch, okay? So the questions you're going to be doing today are a little bit more difficult than yesterday, but it's the exact same process. There's just one little thing that's always going to happen. So let's figure out what it's going to be. So remember, if we've got two simultaneous equations and we have to solve them, it means we have to find a value for x and y that will work for both equations. And we follow the same process every time. So we number the equations 1 and 2. Then we look to eliminate one of the letters from the equations, and the way that we do that is by getting the same number of them in each equation. So see if we look here and we compare our x's, well, we can't multiply like 2 by anything nice to get 3, and we can't multiply 3 by anything nice to get 2. So let's check the y's. 3 and 4, again, they don't go into each other nicely. So this is going to be one of those equations or one of those examples where we actually have to multiply both equations by something. So we've got a couple of options here. I'm going to go for the y's in this one, okay? So 3 and 4, because they both go into 12, if I change these equations so that I end up with 12y in both of them, then that means I'm going to be able to eliminate my y's. Okay, so if I look at equation 1, 3y, I need to make that be 12y. So I'm going to have to multiply equation 1 by 4. Now, be super careful. Remember, it's the whole equation that you multiply by 4, not just the left-hand side, not just the y's. It has to be the whole thing so that the equation still stands. So it's still the exact same equation and it's still valid. So 2x multiplied by 4 gives me 8x. 3y multiplied by 4 gives me 12y. 4 multiplied by 4 is 16. Equation 2 then, remember my aim here is to get 12y's. So I'm going to have to, because this is 4, I'm going to have to multiply through by 3. So multiply by 3. So 3x multiplied by 3 gives me 9x. Minus 4y multiplied by 3 gives me minus 12y. 6 multiplied by 3 gives me 18. So now we'll have to decide whether we are adding or subtracting. So there is that wee sneaky rule, but we're going to think it through logically. So we know it's going to be the y's that we're getting rid of because we have the same number of them. We've got 12 on both. So if I was to subtract here, I would end up with 12y, take away minus 12y, which is the same as plus 12y, so I'll end up with 24y. So it's not going to be subtract. If I add, which it is going to be, I'll have 12y plus minus 12y, so that brings me back down to 0y. So remember the wee sneaky rule is if the signs of the thing you're getting rid of are the same, you subtract. These are different, so we add. So adding together, 8x plus 9x gives me 17x. 12y add minus 12y gives me 0y. And 16 plus 18 gives me 34. Okay, get x on its own. If I divide both sides of my equation by 17, I'm going to get x equals 2. So there's my first one. Now that we have one of those, we substitute that value either back into equation 1 or equation 2. Okay, so let's have a look. I would probably go here for equation 1, and again, because there's no negatives in it. So if I substitute into 1, then it was 2x plus 3y equals 4. Well, we now know that x is 2. So 2 multiplied by 2 plus 3y equals 4. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. Oh, look at this. If I take 4 away from both sides, I end up with 3y equals 0. This is a strange example. So divide both sides by 3. I end up with y equals 0. Oh, don't really like that example. I ended up with one of them equals 0, but I suppose it can happen. Now, remember to write your final answer, you write down both. So x equals 2 and y equals 0. I'll have a wee check for your exercise and see if any of yours end up like that, just to give you a wee advanced warning. Okay, let's look at example 5 then. So it's going to be the same. Do you remember I said at the start there, it's the same as yesterday, but we're taking it up a notch. The way we're taking it up a notch is that the work you're going to be doing today, both equations are going to end up having to be multiplied by something. So let's have a look. Call this equation 1 and this equation 2. If I want to get rid of my x's, I'm going to have to, I would make them both 6. If I was getting rid of my y's, I would be making them both 15. I'll probably just go for the x's this time, just to mix it up a bit. So if I'm making both my equations have 6x in them, if I look at my top equation, I'm going to have to multiply through by 3. So 2x multiplied by 3 gives me 6x, plus 3y, which is being multiplied by 3, which is 9y, 12 multiplied by 3, 36. Equation 2, if I'm trying to get 6x here, I'm going to have to multiply through by 2. So 3x multiplied by 2 gives me 6x, 5y multiplied by 2 is 10y, 19 multiplied by 2 is 38. Okay, signs are the same, so we subtract, check it, 6x take away 6x, yep, 0. So subtract. Okay, 6x take away 6x gives me 0x, 9y take away 10y gives me negative y, 36 take away 38 gives me negative 2 or minus 2. So minus y equals minus 2, that just means y equals 2. Technically there I suppose I've divided by minus 1 on both sides, but y equals 2. Then we take that and we substitute it back into one of our original equations. Doesn't matter which, I'll go for equation 1 again. So substitute into equation 1. So equation 1 was 2x plus 3y equals 12. Well, we now know y is 2. So 2x plus 3 multiplied by 2 equals 12. Now, take away 6 from both sides. And then divide by 2. Both sides. So x equals 3. So my final answer is going to be x equals 3 and y equals 2. Do you know, I have just realised I've forgotten to do all my examples. Do you remember I did it in the very first one? You should always take these, substitute it back into one of the original equations and check it. So let's do it this time. I should really write it out, but I'm not going to. So 3x, well, if x is 3, that's 9 plus 5y. Y is 2, so that's 10. 9 plus 10 gives us 19. Happy days, so we know they're right. Okay, so the questions you're going to be doing today are all like these ones, where you're going to end up multiplying both of the equations by something to eliminate one of the letters, so a little bit more difficult. Let's have a little look at the questions. So it's exercise 10b, and again, just like yesterday, just do as many as you can. So you don't have to do every single question, but just as many as you can get done within the 1 hour lesson. Okay, now I've had a sneaky wee look at the answers, and some of them do come out being 0, just like that example we did. Don't let that throw you off, and don't let answers being a fraction or answers being a negative value throw you off either. Okay. I don't think any of these look too out of the ordinary from what we have just looked at, so I think that is me. Remember, ask for help if you're stuck. I'm here to help you. Bye.